Alright, guys, so just in with this little 49ers report. We did lose to the Vikings today for our first game. Uh, Pretty much didn't get a chance to watch the whole game. Watched basically about the last of the third quarter all the way through to the fourth. But I did go ahead and get a chance to watch the recap on the highlights. It's very simple. Jimmy G looked awful. He looked pretty bad. He had some good throws, but he had some very ill-timed throws. We got bit by the injury bug. We had two guys go down on the offensive line. So we were basically running around with the makeshift line throughout the whole game. The Vikings defense was getting after us. Jimmy threw two interceptions that were pretty horrible. The one in the fourth quarter doesn't. We don't. I don't even know who he's throwing to. So he one of his interceptions though was a pick six. Now, oddly enough, if he doesn't throw that pick six, we're still in the game. So the only negative, the other got down into the red zone five times and we only scored once. So that's pretty horrible because what we're doing, we're right back relying on Robbie Gold to kick us through games, and we can't have that. We need to score when we're in the red zone. There is no excuse. We have to put up points. So basically, long story short, the offense didn't look good. Marquise Goodwin went down with a hamstring injury. We had a couple injuries on defense as well. But our defense played great. Defoe had 2.5 sacks. So that's a great start to the season for him. Already with 2.5 sacks, that helps him with what the locker room's been calling Defensive Player of the Year. So that definitely helps his case. Fred Warner was as advertised. He looked great. He was moving around, making tackles. He was our leading tackler. I'm not sure exactly how many he had, but he did look good. So then after that, our defensive backs, they did a pretty good job, but here's the issue that we have. They're facing the receiver. They're not tracking the ball. They don't know where the ball is. Had Witherspoon turned around on the touchdown he gave up to Stephon Diggs, he could have knocked that ball down at a bare minimum or even made a pick on it. There's so many balls where the defender has his eyes on the receiver and not on the ball. He doesn't know where the ball is, so it drops in over the shoulder or it gets darted in there to him pretty quickly. So, yeah, we ran with the makeshift offensive line for pretty much most of the game due to losing Joshua Garnett and one of our other linemen. So we actually shifted McGlinchey in from right tackle to guard. So right now we just got hit with the injury bug. On a good note, Alfred Morris looked great. Matt Breida did okay. Offense did all right. Dante Pettis looked great. He had our lone touchdown that Jimmy G threw to him, and he was evasive. But it looks like what's happening is the offensive line didn't do too well. But in the same instance, Jimmy was making very poor decisions. So it looks like we've still got a lot of work to do for him to gel with everything and make sure that the offense works out perfectly. Losing Marquise was a big shot to us because he's our speedster for downfield. Like I said, Dante Pettis looked pretty good. George Kittle looked great. He was doing, really good out there. But basically, it's going to be a situation where we have to focus on what we need to do to get better, which is our offense has to produce points. Our defense can't continually do their job, keep us in games, and then our offense doesn't put any points up for us to even be able to stay in the game. Because it's not the defense's job to score. It's the defense's job to get the ball back to the offense so they can score. But we had some pretty good runs. I think we were messing up a little bit because we were collapsing the pocket, but Kirk Cousins was able to move around. And one thing about Kirk Cousins that's pretty much underrated is the fact that he can move. He is fairly mobile, so that's the hard part about that. So for our next game, we got Detroit. We got to go in there and play them. We know Eli Harold will be playing against us, and the hard part is he does know our defensive scheme, so we have to be very mindful of the things that we do and the things that we say, because I'm pretty sure he took that information with him to Detroit because we did trade him there. But I think we'll have a better situation on our hands, and we can get things going in the right direction. We'll have to stop Marvin Jones. We'll have to stop Golden Tate. We'll have to make sure we can tackle on LeGarrette Blount and Amir Abdullah, and then keep Matthew Stafford from throwing the ball all over the place. I think that's something that we can do. We just have to get our DBs to actually start tracking the ball and locating it, and make sure that when we're collapsing the pocket, we're collapsing it in a way that the quarterback doesn't have a chance to escape from it. So, until next week, this is me, the 49er reporter, signing out, saying five trips to the red zone, and only one score and a couple field goals. Horrible. We had some fumbles, but we got to do better. We got to do way better than this if we hope to make the postseason. We weren't really picked to go ahead and actually beat the Vikings, but like I said, without that pick six that Jimmy G throws, we're still in the game. So we have to be smart. We have to be mindful of these things. This is a game where the offense had to show up. Our defense did their job. They did what they could. There was nothing else they could do. They played great. They did exactly what they were supposed to, minus the fact of the touchdown that was given up. But we ourselves have to be accountable as an offense. We got to figure out something. And with the injuries on the O line, I can understand exactly why that didn't go as well as we planned. For everything, we lost McKinnon, so that kind of messed with the game plan. But either way, we should have still produced points. You can't go into the red zone 5 times and come out with one score. I mean, I can see if we went 5 times and we scored 4 times, then I wouldn't be so upset. But Jimmy G's got to make better decisions. I understand he was under a lot of pressure. He was under duress. But at the same time, there were some balls that were thrown and just he was putting the ball in the wrong place, all kinds of stuff. So maybe it's the fact that he got flustered and it was his first game. He had a lot of butterflies. I don't know. I don't care what it is. He just needs to erase those mistakes and try to get better because that's already two, I believe, maybe even 3 interceptions this season. But until next week, we got Detroit. Hopefully this week of practice will be good. We can figure out what's going on with our players and see what's happening. And then after that, in the third week of our season, we get Reuben Foster back. So even if we got to kind of move Fred Warner around because Brock Coyle did go down with an injury. So hopefully we'll see what happens. But our defense, hats off to them. They did great. Our offense, not so good. But once again, next week is a new week. We're only 0-1. It's the beginning of the season. We need to finish at least the first quarter of the season 2-2 or 3-1 at best. We can't be 1-3 or 0-4. That's just not going to work because that doesn't bode well for the rest of the season. Until next week when we play Detroit, I'm Dion, your 49ers signing off. Be easy, stay up, keep an eye on the football season because we will be heading to the playoffs. We can get these issues fixed.